Awesome. Hello, guys. I'm Krupa Kanaiya. I'm hosting What's in Your Studio again today. I'm going to give a few moments for people to log on, but we're going to have our guest come in shortly. Hi, everyone. If you're coming in, again, my name is Krupa Kanaiya. If you've tuned in the past, I've been hosting What's in My Studio with Sam Flax here, and we're going to bring on Lyiness in just a second. She's a local artist here in Atlanta. She does murals, she does beautiful paintings, and we're going to have her come and talk to us a little bit. So give me just a second, everyone, and we're going to do that right now. All right. And guys, for you just tuning in, yes, it's working. Heyo. So everyone's kind of coming in slowly, but as they come in, just we're gonna say hey and get to know you a little bit. So for those who don't know, this is Lyiness. She's an Atlanta-based artist. She's been working for 20 plus years here as a full-time artist now. So we're gonna talk a little bit about her work, what types of materials she uses, all the wonderful things that go into the creations that she does. So as we're going through, if you need to check out her page and you're not familiar with her, go do that. It's at Lyiness, L-Y, is it I-N? Help me
Nope.
out real quick. Perfect. So like I said, go click on her page, look at her work, come back and join this conversation with us. So just to get started, if you could introduce yourself to everybody and just kind of let them know who you are, what you do, you know.
I'm Lyiness. I'm a full-time Atlanta artist, and I have been for the last 3 years. I do murals, I do canvas, I paint walls, I paint clothes, shoes, bags. I dabble in a bit of sewing. I make what these are, and they're called warrior bags. They're pockets on both sides, kind of like a gun holster, but for your stuff, right? And I paint anything that sits still, basically. Any craft or creative thing that I see that's like, oh, that's awesome. I want to try it, because you don't know what you're going to be good at until you try it, right? So I just play with everything, and I make and create. That's my title.
Nice. I love the idea of you won't know if you're good at it. I definitely had to struggle with that this week. So let's talk a little bit about that and kind of jump into it. I know you've been here for a long time. You've been working a lot. What did it take for you to become a full-time artist and make that jump of like that leap of faith in yourself?
Um, just being frustrated with working too hard for somebody that doesn't appreciate it, um, and feeling like, just what could go wrong, you have to be really dedicated. You have to keep going. When people say your work is shit, you have to just keep painting. You have to keep doing things. Art is not a competition for me. Any artist that I meet, I want to paint with them. I want to create with them. I want to collaborate. I want to make stuff. No one can take what's in my brain and put it through their hands on a board. If someone painted this exact painting, it's going to come out different through their hands and their brain. So there's no competition in art. You have to just keep doing it and keep doing it until you get better. Like anything, you have to practice.
Awesome. So the painting behind you. I know you sent that to us, and we've been fortunate to get to see it on your website and social. Can you tell us a little bit about it? I've noticed a lot of like nature and like animal motifs in your work. Why the animals? Why the lions?
So animals are spirit guides for me. Lioness was the animal that pushed me into giving up corporate, giving up a clock in position, and like really hustling and struggling to make my art appear, right? And my art be seen. And it's a process of putting what you love in art. And these are my tree goddesses. So when I go do like figure model drawing, I usually draw the woman, but I draw her with extra things. I turn her into a tree or a flower or an animal or something. I call these tree goddesses, and she's got a lot of messages in here. She's full of orchids all around the painting. There's a big amethyst and big citrine and a prism right here, and some prayer beads and rose quartz and the owl to watch over everything. So it's very subliminal. But I feel like trees are so different. Every single one is different, just like us. So I just mixed the two and made a tree goddess. It's my
That's
favorite.
beautiful. So you said this was your favorite painting. How long ago did you complete this work?
Um, I would say like six months ago.
Okay, very cool. Um, so let's talk a little bit more about your other paintings and things so people who don't know you can kind of get a better idea. I'm sure even folks who aren't familiar with you by name have probably seen your mural of the cat with like the octopus limbs and things like that around town. Um, let's dive into that. Let's kind of get people a little more familiar because I know I had seen that piece and I never knew that was you. And I like to self-identify as a zoo lady. So I've got cats and dogs and all the things. And when I saw the cat, I was like, this is so cute. This is so good. And it just spoke to my fur parent inside of me.
Did shelter work before this. I ran a cat shelter for several years. And so cats are everything. Cats rule everything around me. I got the little Wu-Tang stickers with the cats on them, and cats are a big deal. Cats and trees. It sums me up all together. But the mural is in the Metropolitan. It's in the West End of Atlanta, and it's also where my studio resides at Mutiny Artworks. And we did something called Arttober a couple of years ago, and a bunch of artists came in and painted that whole wall full of murals. And I was lucky enough to get a little chunk.
Nice. Have you done any other collabs with artists like that? Like, was it like the Forward Warriors pieces or like the square stacks and stuff around town?
So I did actually do a piece with an artist, and plot twist, your last artist, Tone, is who I did it with, and it's on that same wall as the cat mural. We did a Woman of Atlanta piece where we highlighted some of the women that have made.
That's awesome. So I want to talk a little about collaborating and things like that. Obviously, a lot of artists kind of like to work together and do different things. How does that affect how you chase projects? Do you usually go in for solo pieces, or do you like to go after these collaborations when it comes to your paid work?
I gotta tell you, I'm so happy to just be painting for food, a place to live, and vehicle, and living off of art that I don't care what I paint or who I paint it with. If I'm painting, I'm a happy girl.
Nice. So what do you like to use to paint? This is Sam Flax. We got to talk a little bit about, the materials and stuff. Let's dive into that. What are your favorite brands, colors?
So I was just there day before yesterday, and I filled up a basket of Cobra spray paint and did this.
That's so vibrant.
It's at Promise Youth Center on Metropolitan. So super happy to collaborate with them. It was a lot of fun. But I use Cobra spray paint. I'm also a big fan of Montana markers. There's always one in my bag, whether I'm arting or not. I have to keep one close to my heart. Um, I use acrylics mostly when I paint canvases and stuff. The spray paint is more for like big wall pieces for me. I like uh, I'm a big shopper in your clearance aisle. I go over there and just take what's amazing. I can't stop Flax without going in that corner. I also love the Angelo fabric paint. That stuff is amazing. You paint on shoes and fabric, all kinds of fabrics, like silky stuff and furry stuff and all kinds of things.
Do you generally paint shoes? Is that a common occurrence for you?
Yeah, I just did a pair of, my friend brought me a pair of 2020 Nikes, and that says 2020 on the side of them. So I was like, she said, do what you want with them. Shout out to V, love you, girl. And I put Murder Hornets on them. So that was a lot of fun. 20 more Murder Hornets Nikes.
It feels very appropriate for the year we're having. So I'm glad you kind of mentioned this year. I know I've asked all of our other artists in the past too, kind of how this has affected them and their work, but how does it look like for you? What is this year coming to?
I did get a shop in Little Five Points, which made me very, very sad because that's home for me. Little Five Points has been a creative nestle in Atlanta my whole life. Um, so I do intend on going back, but right now that space was too small for me to social distance. And so what I did was I got a bigger space here at Mutiny Artworks, and I have a garage door now. That's the clouds behind me. So I can open my space up and really ventilate it. And I'm going to do paint and sips here where people can come and paint whenever they want. They pick the day, they pick the time, and we paint whatever they want to paint. It's real relaxed, and I just, work them through it till they like what they leave with.
Is that open to just anybody that they can kind of DM you and take a look at it, or?
Hey, me and my friends want to come paint. This day would be great. This time would be great. And we work it out from there. You get to pick the size of canvas that you want. We're painting on full regular canvases, what I paint on, same exact thing. Um, and you come with an idea or whatever you love, and I'll help you paint it. Just walk you through it.
Okay. So in terms of like the paint and sips and stuff, I know a lot of people get to do it just for like the funsies, and before Corona really hit us, it was something that we could just kind of have like a casual, like whether it was a girls' night or a date night or just something to do with like whoever. Um, what does that look like now? Do you give them the same supplies that you use other than the canvases? Are they using like professional quality paints and stuff, or do you start them off on maybe not like a cheaper paint, but something that might be a little easier for them to work with, that might be a little more forgiving? Like,
For
what
sure.
can they expect?
For sure. And I have different price points too. So it's available for everybody. So if you don't have, a lot of money to spend on your canvas and your paint, because it can get pretty pricey when you talk about that, um, then I, use like dollar acrylic paints. But, if you want to really invest in this and learn some real painting techniques, then I'm happy to use my paint with you.
Nice. So I kind of want to talk about that a little bit more. I know the Montana markers have been super popular with everybody lately. I have them. I always have Posca markers. Like the obsession is very much real. Um,
Also with the
but
little,
if someone,
it's amazing.
yeah, they're so smooth, so vibrant. You can go back over it if you mess up. It is like a constant game changer for me that I'm like, oh no, my hand twitched, and now I can just go back and fix it. And it dries so much quicker. Like, yeah, I'm in love. It's fine. We can go into my loves later on a separate conversation. But for someone who's not familiar with it and kind of wants to get into that, I know sometimes it can be quite the investment. Is there any materials that you used to work with that you would recommend for people who are just starting out? Like, what's worth making the investment on monetarily for you, and what's something you can kind of get away with in terms of like, oh, I'm on a shorter budget. This is just for me. Maybe I can like cut the price point of this somewhere else. Where would you start?
So I'm not the greatest advocate for that because I decide I like something and I go buy all of it and
Yeah,
stuff. So I would say go with your heart. If you want to try something, get the good stuff. Invest in yourself. Um, when you work with better quality things, you get a better result, and that goes for anything. You get what you pay for. So I'm not the best to penny pinch when it comes to supplies.
that's okay. We still have clearance at Sam's Flax. We always have discounts. Like you can buy those things on a sales day, right? It's just, I just wanted to see, like, from your perspective, if there was something that you felt like, if this is worth the investment, if you should make it. And I'm glad,
In your heart to do it, spend it. It's just money.
right. So in terms of like money and things, I know you do the shoes. In a previous conversation, I mentioned your jackets that you said was a commission. I want to talk about that. I am currently loving TikTok and watching people just go through their art processes. And one thing I'm really noticing in younger artists is that they love customizing their apparel, and denim jackets are definitely a part of that. So how do you start? Where do you go? What made you decide that this was going to be a medium that works? Because you have the warrior bags too that you paint on. And I I'm not a big fan of carrying bags and things like that, but I love anything with pockets. So I
Yeah.
was definitely drawn to that.
So the warrior bags are male or female. Anybody can wear them, but we all know that females' clothing have a severe shortage of pockets. And I hate wearing bags too. I'll set it down and leave it somewhere. So it actually started from a sketch. I drew a warrior woman, and she had something similar onto it. So I just started watching YouTube until I figured out how to sew a pattern that I made. Um, as far as painting on like clothes and jackets, it really came from, when I have a big canvas like this is over 4 feet tall. It took me months to do. I can't sell this for $50. The art mediums that it took to make it was more than that. So what I realized is if I painted a little lion head on a jacket or something like that, it doesn't take as long. It's still beautiful. It's art. It's one of a kind. It's something you're never going to see anywhere else. You're not going to walk in and see somebody with your jacket on, right? So I felt like
Yeah.
by adding art to clothing, it made it more wearable art, more functional art, something that people could see investing more money into because it is one of a kind, because it is beautiful and it's art that's walking around. It's a walking mural.
Nice. Do you sell prints of your work for people to purchase?
I have postcard size up to, I think, 15 by 17.
Very
Mm-hmm.
cool.
And I,
So I, oh no, you cut out for a second. Could you repeat that for me?
I said I have stickers as well of my art.
I love stickers. I wish I could show you, but I mean, for those who don't know, I just have like a plain background behind me for the sake of the interviews, but I definitely have an entire board of stickers somewhere. It is quite the love. Someone says below they carried their warrior bag to the farmer's market and no worries about getting their wallet stolen.
Oh,
So I guess that's a definite good one.
yeah, I'm going to leave a sticker pack for you at Sam Flax.
Oh, thank you.
Hmm.
I'm excited. We'll have to do a trade. I'll give you one of my watercolor pieces in exchange and we can keep the cycle. We'll do a. So I know with the paintings, it looks like you're using mostly acrylic and stuff just to kind of shift gear back. I I know you mentioned your spirit guides being a lioness. Do you follow the zodiacs? Because I know it's Leo season, and for the Leos out there, I thought they might identify with some of your work.
Yeah,
So,
definitely follow the zodiac signs. I'm a Scorpio myself, but I do draw a lot of Leos because I love painting lions.
very cool. So, I mean, I don't even know how to do it. I'm definitely like, like I said earlier, I love cats. I'm here for the zodiac game too. I'm not as invested as others in my family and around me, but I definitely notice every single year when Leo season hits, you will not miss it. So for any of the artists who are probably watching that are Leos, we love you. We are here to hype you and support all of your lioness adventures. But I kind of want to talk a little bit more about that because I'm noticing, like you said earlier, you have the amethyst in some of your paintings and these stones and things like that. What type of like energy are you putting into your paintings that you hope someone is taking back with them?
Um, Lots. This is images from my brain that only I see until I paint them. Once I share it with you, then you've been in my inner sides. You've seen what I'm thinking of or how I'm feeling in that moment.
Very cool. So, I mean, I don't even know how to phrase this correctly, and so forgive me if this comes out a little bit wrong, but I wanted to ask you because I've kind of been asking around and seeing. I know for some of the artists who watch this that are kind of just coming up and starting to identify with the types of products they can use, that selling their art feels very personal. And you definitely put a very personal part of yourself into your pieces by it being just something so free flowing. How do you price that?
Oh, it's so hard. I hate pricing and I hate naming paintings. Those are the two worst parts about my job. Um, it's really hard, especially if you're really in love with it. You put your real heart into it. Like this guy back here, like I love this painting. It's going to be really hard to let it go. Someone asked me if I had kids once, and I said no. These are my kids, and I sell them.
I like that. it's much better to sell children paintings than definitely we can't sell real children. We
No,
gotta love the real ones. Um, yeah, if you're putting that much of yourself into it and it's taking you so long, I was just kind of curious about like how you price yourself because I know we've talked previously to graphic designers here who have talked about their hourly rates and how that affects the outcome. And we've spoken to people who just do so many different things. I've spoke to a crochet artist recently who may or may not be in this series later, who talks about how even something so small can take 5 or 6 hours, but charging 5 or 6 hours for like something that's essentially keychain size might not be an effective
very hard.
price exchange for somebody. So I just wanted to touch base because your work is really large and it's really beautiful to see such large scale paintings. Um, but yeah, for those who don't know, where do you start? Do you start by hour? Do you start by the cost of the materials you use?
I've been told a lot that I don't charge enough, and there's several reasons for that. I only have so much space in my studio. I can't keep all my art. I do Free Art Friday. Uh, that gives people a chance to find something fun and accidentally fall in love and possibly purchase down the road. When I make big paintings, I make prints of them, I make stickers of them, I make pens. I try and find other ways to kind of profit off of them so that the original cost doesn't have to be so high. I want my stuff to be affordable so that everybody can enjoy it. It's a lot of events. I used to do a lot of pop-ups and festivals and stuff like that, and a lot of events, like, some people are really super proud of their stuff in far as pricing, which is good. I mean, you should. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but if you really want the public to have your art and you really want everybody to have access to it, then you have to give and take a little bit.
Do you have a goal with your art and like where your next steps might be that we can kind of be on the lookout for?
A goal for my art, I would really love to do some more murals around the city. Um, that I love big scale. It's a lot of fun. I enjoy the process, and I like riding down the street and seeing my stuff. It feels good. I have a mural on Cascade Road of a big lion. I just got the one on Metropolitan. I have a mural in Little Five Points. So it feels good to drive around the city and see my artwork places. So I want to see my art in more public spaces.
Nice. I also noticed that in your bio, and I think we talked about this in promoting this live stream as well, that you've had pieces on TV and film sets.
Yes.
How'd you make that happen?
So I have artwork for sale at Java Cats. It's a cat cafe where you can go drink coffee and pet cats and adopt them. It's a really fun place. A really great lady named Hayden owns it. And my art's been in there for a while, but I assumed that a TV producer came in there and saw my cat paintings. I have one with a cat like holding poker card or holding playing cards, and it says parkour instead of poker across the top of it. Um, and a couple other little cat. They was a crazy lady. The show Kevin Probably Saves the World, which has been canceled by now, but it was out. And they went to her house, and it was a picture in her house somewhere.
That's super cool. Yeah, I'm not familiar with the show, but I am familiar a little bit with working with TV and film. So I was just curious how that came about for someone who's not in an art department setting, how you can still make those moves. And I
I,
like that that was a very organic space for you.
yeah, she just came across it.
So I did want to ask a little bit also about the coffee shops and stuff. I know that a lot of people try and like put their work up in places like that. Have you felt like that was successful for you and your journey, or is it just something that you feel like adds to the environment that it's in? How can we kind of bring that up for people who are unfamiliar?
Well, the thing with art is if no one sees it, then it doesn't move and circulate around. So you have to put it out places. You have to get it places. My art's been hanging in Crystal Blue for years. Um, and I've done Sweet Melissa's in Decatur and Java Cats, and I feel like I'm leaving out a few. Um, the Oddity Shop in Avondale Estates. Pretty much anywhere that already has art on the walls, I'll ask, hey, can I put a few pieces here? And most of the time, it's free money for the people there. They get a commission, so most of the time they're willing to put it up. So if you're an artist out there, I say, hey, go ask, and you don't know if you don't ask.
That's a good sentiment for sure. I know I struggle to ask people for things sometimes. I think it took me quite some time before I was like, okay, I'm ready. Here's my like speech of introduction. But yeah, you introduce yourself as like general like artist and like in very like free spirited in terms of like how you approach, and it's very like laid back. You give off really good vibes. What does it take to for you to be able to do that though?
You gotta let go. You gotta just do stuff. You gotta just live and just be happy. Don't sit in a place of miserable. So many people will just be just be at that crappy job, unhappy because they're comfortable. You have to get out of your comfortable zone. If you are doing what you're destined to do, the universe will provide everything. So you just gotta sit back and enjoy the ride. Life, I've learned, is really how you react to things. You can just be chill and enjoy life and keep going. If you're not happy, remove yourself from that situation. It's really pretty simple. And paint a lot, like things that feel good to you, or whatever feels good to you. It's for me, it's painting or making or creating something. Um, but yeah, you just live. I'm gonna be 41 this year. Can you even believe it?
No, not at all.
Because you just let go. You have to, you stress and freak out and put all kinds of bad chemicals in your body because you're stressed or because of this or whatever excuse you can come up with. But what if you put that energy and time into what you love? Um, the energy that
So
the universe will provide if you're doing your destiny, for sure.
yeah. So you're, and I mean this in a positive way. I was a little surprised that you mentioned your age because I know a lot of women kind of steer away from that. They're like, oh, I won't share this. That's very private. How could you ask me that? I'm really excited that you shared that. I want to ask then, in your 20 years of doing artwork, what is what's the most positive and negative things you've seen in this community that you could kind of learn from that maybe some of our audience can take away from?
Okay, for negative, I'm gonna jump right into that because the first thing popped into my head was the male female ratio of artists and the way that female artists are taught towards female artists. And it just seems like there's a heavy dominance of male artists taking everything. Um, that's one of the hard parts. Showing that you can work as hard as them, showing you can get up a ladder or drive a lift or do the things that you need to do and be capable of it and not have someone say, oh, can I get that for you? Or expect you to not be able to do it because you have a vagina.
Do you experience a lot of those like microaggressions as a woman when you're painting and stuff, and people really wanting to come and help you in those ways?
I have literally been on ladders with paintbrushes in hand and a man walk up to me and say, are you the artist? Did you do that? Like, I'm, I'm literally right here doing it right now. And they still can't believe it. So yeah, there's definitely um, a lot of that, definitely.
Well, that's unfortunate is the best way I have to describe that. Yeah,
But
just as
um, I got paint on me right now. This makes me to be a mess, to wake up and decide I'm going to change the way this entire thing looks and completely revamp it and make it new. That feels good to me. That's if I can come into a space and really change it. Like I've had a few people like come to tears from their murals. So excited. Shout out to D. I love you, baby girl. I did a picture of her dog like shaking off water, and she was so appreciative and really really loved it. We even became friends after that. Like we hang out now. So to
That's
know,
awesome. That's such a beautiful connection.
yeah, to know that I could touch a heart like that. Or also, like, I've done a lot of memorial pieces for people's animals, like cats or dogs and stuff like that. And to show their animal that's passed on and that personality that they have, and to be able to give them that that they can keep with them, it feels really good.
What's your favorite type of piece to work on?
Oh man, tough one. I'm a, ah, I have 1,000 projects in process. I jump from one thing to the next. Just whatever I'm feeling that day, that's what I work on, or whatever's low, um, that's what I work on. Just the feeling of the day. I couldn't say any one thing is my very favorite. Um, I really like to paint tree ladies. I really like to paint lions. Um, but I like trying new things too. It's anything creative or art, I'm going to be happy.
So, because you kind of go with that flow, do you ever struggle with main like keeping up with your progress as you're approaching deadlines,
Oh,
or
yeah.
are you more structured?
Yeah, deadlines are scary. I am really, really stiff about doing what I say, though. So if I say I'm going to do it, then I'm going to stay up all night. I'm going to work really hard. I'm going to give it everything I have to make it happen.
So, you're really passionate. I want to ask this a little bit and see how it goes, but how do you maintain work-life balance? Because you're really invested and you're very much a go-getter, and I love that energy, but like, do you sleep? Do you rest and like catch up in between painting?
So work is my life. It makes me happy. Work's my boyfriend, work's my husband, work's my side boo. Um, I really do love what I do. So even in my free time, I would still choose to paint or do something. So when you say free time and live or work life, um, there's no balance because it's the same thing.
Very cool. Yeah, I'm excited to hear that. I know that can be a very struggling thing, and I'm really excited to see someone who has so much joy in what they do. Did you ever struggle as a creative to with like the critiques that people give you on your work because it's so much a part of your life?
Oh yeah, I'm an artist and I'm sensitive about my shit for sure. If you don't like it, I'll take it and go home. I don't care. Yeah.
How do you respond to people who don't like your work? Do
Um.
you respond to people?
Yeah. I just don't. My mom says if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say nothing. So I just you know where art is so extremely subjective. One person can look at it and be like, oh, that's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen, and someone else will look at it and be like, that's garbage. So I don't try and please anyone. I make what I think is pretty, and I hope that other people think that it's pretty. And if they don't, that's okay too.
Nice. So how do you go about things in terms of Free Art Friday? Because that's very much subjective to people just kind of casually finding your work and either loving it or leaving it. Um, have you found success with that? Like, do people generally find your pieces and tag you again, or do you just hope that if you haven't heard anything, it's somewhere with somebody?
Right. It's 50-50. Some people tag, some people don't. You is what it is, but it's out there in the world, and if they decide it's crap, maybe they give it to somebody as a joke and they decide it's beautiful. I don't know. I don't care. I let it go out into the world, and once it's free and wild to roam as it wants, it's its own adventure.
Do you ever see like repeat customers coming back from that Free Art Friday cycle to be like, oh, I found this piece, I loved it, here's something I'd like to commission for you?
Definitely, definitely. I've had a couple people come back. Mhm.
Cool. So how do you, I mean, give me a second to kind of like put my words together. I know I'm just kind of throwing questions at you. So I just have a lot of like curiosities and yeah. Um, Free Art Friday is definitely something I follow every week, and I've noticed that, some people tag, some people don't. Sometimes I see really beautiful pieces that don't get claimed for like 24 or 48 hours. if you're just letting it go like that and hoping for people to come back, do you have a preference for them to tag you? Are you marketing outside of Free Art Friday to people to that might want to find those pieces, or do you just kind of let it live on Instagram and see what happens? Like,
Um, I've done several. I've done free art where I just leave it somewhere and you got to find it. I've done it where I leave it by something visually, showing where it is and tell people, go at it. And, and I've also just handed my art to people and say, hey, for happy Free Art Friday, just a random person, there's always to do it. And even if that particular person doesn't like what you hand them, they likely know somebody that will like it and they'll give it to them. So it
yeah,
finds its way into the hands of someone who loves it one way.
very cool. Um, so I kind of want to circle back again to your murals and leave the free art world and go back into the paid sector for a little bit. Um, I have I have a general curiosity with like how mural work goes and it being so big, and I know you have to budget for so many different things. What about like how does weather and just day-to-day life affect your timelines? Because my father's a landscaper, so if it rains, he's kind of SOL. And I know for some muralists, they're like, this is my deadline. If it's indoors, it's not a problem. But if it's outdoors, how do you take care of yourself and your materials? Because there's no one really to watch your stuff. Are you worried about people ever coming and just like touching the paint and trying to be overly involved as you're working?
Yeah, there's been episodes like that. It really just depends on where you are. Matter of fact, the last 2 nights I've been up all night painting the mural I showed you earlier in the feed. Um, but last night we went to do the signature and everything and finish it up, and it started pouring rain on us. So we had to stop. Try to go back over today. Security isn't there. The construction workers aren't there. Access the wall. I have to wait till tonight for security to come back to be able to do that. So it's really tricky, especially when you're scheduling on someone else's property and you can't access it. Then weather, all those things are out of control. Though, you do your best and keep them informed of what's going on and hope they're nice about it.
Yeah, I like that. So we're kind of starting to run low on time, so I'm just going to open up to anyone who's watching. If you want to drop questions down below, there's a little box with a question mark that you can click and then we can read it, or you can just drop it in the comments. And we're kind of watching and seeing all of your highs and hellos and the shout outs to the folks who are already familiar with your work and giving you love in the comments. But yeah, if you have questions, place them. We'll read them, we'll answer them, we'll do all of the things. And if not, Lyiness has her IG and you can always DM later and start that conversation. Maybe get a custom piece, maybe just ask more about the different things she likes to use and get a warrior bag or something. Ladies, we don't have enough pockets. You could use a bag. And it's not like a bag. So, yeah, I while we wait on that, if anyone has questions or whatever, is there any like advice or any like last like words you want to share with anyone who's watching or anyone who's going to watch later?
um, if you have an idea of something you want to do, but you've been nervous or not really sure how to ask about doing it, talk to me. I'm a regular person, and together we can come up with some creative ideas that would make your wall or your clothes or your shoes or anything you want me to paint on. I do body paint even. I do henna. Really anything artistic I can do. I also catify people. So you send me a picture of you, a couple of things about your personality, and I turn you into a cat. It's a lot of fun, and it's basically one of my paintings, but in reverse. So I use all the things that make you you to turn you into a cat. but
That's super cute. Um, I do, before we kind of like log off and stuff, people are still popping in with their comments saying they're super proud of you and all the encouraging things that you have to say and feeding back on that. Um, this has been such a delight for me to be able to have this conversation as like a start to my Saturday morning. And I am so excited to see all the things you're going to do. But yeah, I just wanted to put that out there and thank you for your time.
thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
So, guys, again, if you're not familiar, go check out her page at Lyiness on Instagram. Her website link is there. Um, oh, we have one question before we start to log off. It says, does your music or other type of art inspire you?
Yes, yes. I love some lo-fi. Um, I'm a big fan of Janae Aiko, Erica Badu, um, chill vibes, like real melodic, can just kind of trance out into a painting. That's me.
Nice. It, do you have a set playlist for your work?
It is mostly on Erica Badu radio, and it just plays all that. I'm old school, '90s R&B, hip hop. I don't know what these kids are
Nice.
talking.
It's okay. I'm I'm not quite old and I still don't know what any of the kids are talking about. So to be fair, it's all the same. I think once everyone's done with high school, you just don't know what's happening. And I only say that because I am significantly older than my youngest sibling, who is now a senior in high school and has told me I am not cool anymore and don't know what's happening because I said something about hitting the whoa, and he goes, "That's not how you do it." So for anyone else who's feeling old, I got you because I don't know either, and none of us are that old. So that was such a good question, though. I'm excited.
Is
Sorry?
it getting old or is it getting experience? I think we're just
Ooh. I don't know. Do you feel old or do you feel experienced
experience.
with time?
Yes, definitely.
I feel just as lost now as I was probably at 17. So, and it's been a good amount of time since then. So I don't know if I'm any more or less experienced, but I do have a different set of questions for every day that's approaching me. So definitely a different curiosity for the life I'm living. But yeah, uh, I'm going to close this out and hopefully people will keep up with you. They'll be able to check out any of the Montana
Awesome.
stuff you
Thanks for having
use
me.
and other supplies. Awesome. And again, guys, at Lyiness or check out at Sam Flax's IG DM if you're curious about our like specials or clearances. There is curbside pickup and you can come and walk the store, but you have to wear a mask. Please be kind to our workers. Put the mask on for your safety and ours. And I'll see you everyone next week for the next What's in My Studio. All right, bye.